you ever just feel full? Not full like you ate too much food, I mean full in your head. It feels like there is always noise. Someone is always texting you. The news is always bad. You were worried about money. You're worried about what people think of you. Or you were just worried about the future. It's not just loud. It's loud all the time. I felt like that for a long time, and then I found this diary. It wasn't written for me, or it wasn't written for any of you. It was written 2000 years ago by a man who was trying to keep himself from falling apart. The man who wrote this was named Marcus Aurelius. And here's the crazy part. He was the emperor of Rome. He was basically the most powerful man on earth. He could have anything he wanted. Money, places, servants. But if you read this diary, you don't just see a guy who is happy and relaxed. You see a guy who is struggling. And he was dealing with wars. He was surrounded by people who lie for him. He was sick. He was stressed out. He don't write this book to get famous. Like he actually wanted it to be destroyed after he died. He wrote these words for himself, late at night in a tent on a battlefield, just to find a little bit of peace. And that is why I love this book. Because if the most powerful man in history needed to remind himself to stay calm, then maybe just it's okay if we need a reminder too. So let's talk about it. Let's see what he figured out in this book. Before we get into the lesson, we need to talk about the word Stoicism. When I used to hear about the word, I thought of a statue. You know, someone who doesn't cry, someone who doesn't laugh, someone who stands there and takes a beating without feeling anything. But that is not what Marcus Aurelius was talking about. Marcus wasn't trying to be a rock. He was trying to be a human being again, and who don't actually fall apart every time something went wrong. If I had to explain his entire philosophy in just one sentence, it would be this. There are things that you control, and there are things that you cannot control. And your happiness depends on knowing the difference. Think about it like this. Imagine you are an archer, and you have a bow and arrow. Now, you can control how much you practice. You can control how sharp your arrow is. You can control how steady your hand is. And you can control exactly when you want, like you let go of the string. But the second that arrow leaves your fingers, you have zero control. A sudden gust of a wind could blow it, of course, and the target could move, sometimes could jump in a way. Stoicism is about focusing 100% on the aiming and 0% on result. Most of us are miserable because we are trying to control the wind. We try to control what other people think of us. We try to control the traffic, we try to control the weather, and because we can't control those things, we feel helpless. We feel anxious. Marcus is telling us, stop looking at the arrow. Look at your hands. Focus on what is yours. Let the rest happen. Okay, let's get into the actual lessons. This first one is the biggest one. Honestly, if you turn off the video after this point, you will still have enough to change your life. I call this the power of perception. Marcus wrote this because something that completely changed how I see the world. He said, it is not events that disturb us, but our judgment of them. Let's read this again. It is not events that disturb us, but our judgment of them. When I first read this, I was like, what? That makes no sense. If someone punches me in the face, the punch is what hurts, right? If I lose my job, losing the job is bad thing. But then I sat with it, and I realized he is right. Let's give you a real life example. Imagine it's Monday morning and you are driving to work. You are already a little bit late, and suddenly, boom, traffic jam. Red lights everywhere, nobody's moving. What is your reaction? You probably get tight in your chest. You grip the steering wheel. You might scream at the windshield. You start thinking that this is unfair, and why does this always happens to me? Now my boss is going to be mad with me, and my whole day is ruined. You feel terrible and you feel angry, but now imagine the person in the car is next to you. They are stuck in the same exact traffic and the exact same cars in front of them. They are going to be just as late as you, but inside the car, they're listening to their favorite podcast and they're drinking their coffee, of course. They're actually kind of happy to have 10 minutes of quiet time before work starts. So here's the question. Is that traffic bad? Actually, no. The traffic is just cars on a road. It has no feelings. It isn't trying to hurt you. If the traffic was bad, then everyone would be angry. But the guy next to you is happy. So the badness isn't coming from the road. The badness is coming from you. It's coming from the story that you are telling yourself. You are telling yourself this shouldn't be happening. And that thought, that judgment is what caused the pain. Marcus Aurelius says, we do this all day long. We walk around with voice in your head that labels everything. This is good, this is bad, this is ugly, or this is unfair. He says, remove the judgment, and you have removed the thought, I am hurt. You removed the thought, I am hurt, and the hurt itself is removed actually. Think about how powerful that is. It means you are the one who decides if you are offended or not. If someone insults you on the internet, those are just pixels on the screen, if you think of it like that. But they're just little lights. They can't hurt you. They only hurt you if you look at them and say, hey, that's mean. They shouldn't say that. You are the one who is actually picking up the hurt. I try to practice this now. It's really hard. When something breaks, like let's say I dropped this glass and it shattered, my first instinct is to get mad. I'm so clumsy, why did I do this? But then I try to use Marcus Aurelius' method. I look at the broken glass, I strip away the story, and what happens is gravity pulled the glass down. It hit the floor and the glass separated into pieces. That is it. It's simply physics. It's not a tragedy. It's not a sign that I'm a failure. It's just a broken glass. I can clean it up. This lesson is about freedom. We think we are prisoners of our own mind, or we are prisoners of our own circumstances. We think we need to change our job, or we need to change our houses, our partners, or we can be happy. We can be happy with those things in our circumstances. But Marcus says, no. You can be happy right now, like in this mess, because the problem isn't the mess. The problem is just how you're looking at it. You are controlling. You cannot control the world. It's too big. It's too wild. But you can control the lens you are looking through. And if you can clean the lens, the whole world looks different. But be honest, you can't just sit on your room and think happy thoughts all day. Eventually, you have to go outside, and when you go outside, things are going to get in your way. That brings us to lesson 2, and this is one of my absolute favorite. I have this written on a sticky note in my computer or in my desk. I need to see it every single day, right? It's called the obstacle is the way. We usually think about our life like a highway, and we want a straight road. We want to drive from a point A to point B with no traffic and no construction and no bumps and all things. And when something blocks the road, like a boulder falls in the middle of the highway, we freak out. We stop the car, we cry, or we say, my trip is over. The road is blocked. Like Marcus looks at the boulder differently. He wrote this sentence that is probably the most famous thing he ever said. I quote, "The impediment to action advances the action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Let's break that down into a 7th grade English, because impediment is a fancy word. He is saying that the thing is stopping you is actually the thing helps you. It sounds crazy, right? How can a problem help me? Marcus uses the metaphor of fire. If you have a tiny little candle flame and you throw a big log in top of it, what happens? the fire goes out, it get crushed. That's how the most of we are. We are weak fires. When a problem hits us, we get extinguished. But if you have a huge roaring bonfire and you throw a same big log on top of it, what happens then? The fire doesn't go out, it eats the log. It swallows it up. And the fire actually gets bigger and hotter because of the wood. The log didn't stop the fire. The log became the fuel for the fire. Let me give you a real example from my life. So this isn't just a theory. A while ago, I was trying to film a video and everything went wrong. My camera died. Then the audio file got corrupted. My neighbor is actually making so many noises. I mean, I was ready to quit. I was so angry. I was thinking that universe doesn't want me to make this video. That was the obstacle. But then I thought about Marcus. What stands in the way becomes the way. I realized this isn't a disaster. This is practice. This is a chance for me to practice patience, and this is a chance for me to learn how to fix audio files. This is a chance for me to test how much I really want this. So the bad thing actually made me a better creator. It forced me to learn new skills. The obstacles become the way forward. Now we have to talk about the biggest obstacle of all. It's not broken cameras or it's not traffic, it's people. Other human beings are really good at ruining your day. They lie, they are rude, they are arrogant, and they take credit of your work. Marcus was an emperor and he had to deal with politicians who wanted him to dead. He had generals who betrayed him. If anyone had a right to hate people, it was him. But listen to what he told himself every single morning. This is literally how he started his day. He would wake up and say, "Today I shall meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surely." I love that. He doesn't wake up saying today is going to be a magical day. Or he wakes up saying today I am going to meet a bunch of jerks. But he doesn't stop there. He says something else. He says that these people act this way because they don't know any better. They are confused about what good and what is evil. And he also says that we are born to work together like feet, hands, and eyes, like two rows of teeth, upper and lower. He is basically saying you can't hate them. You have to work with them. If your top teeth hated your bottom teeth, you couldn't eat. You'd starve to death. We need each other. So here's the trick Marcus uses. When someone is really annoying you, let's say a coworker, he is being super rude to you. Don't look at them as an enemy. Look at them as a sparring partner. You know how boxers need a partner to punch so they can get stronger. That rude coworker is your training partner. They're helping you to train your patience. They are helping you to train your kindness. And if everyone was always nice to you, you would never get strong. You would be weak and you need the rude people to test you. So when someone cuts you off in the line, don't just get mad. Just think, thank you for giving me a chance to practice being calm. It totally flips the script. Instead of being a victim of their rudeness, you become the student of it. You win no matter what they do. It's hard, I'm not just gonna lie, but when someone insults me, I want to insult them back. But that is my instincts, of course. But Marcus reminds me that revenge is a waste of time. He says the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. If someone is angry and screaming, and you get angry and scream back, you just become exactly like them. You lost. The only way to win is to stay kind, to stay cool, or to use the obstacle as the way. Take a deep breath, because we need to talk about the last lesson. And honestly, this is the most people are scared of. It is the one I was scared of too. It is about death. In Latin, they call it Memento Mori. It means, remember you must die. I know, now I know what you are thinking. Actually, dude, why are you bringing the vibe down? I'm watching a YouTube video to be entertained, not to just think about my funeral. And I get that. I get that. In your modern world, we hide death. We pretend it doesn't exist. We act like we are going to live longer, or we act like we are going to live forever. We plan for 50 years from now. We worry about what people will think of us in history books. But, but Marcus Aurelius, he looked into his death. Like, he looked death right in the face. He wrote his sentence that stops me in my tracks every time I read it. I quote, "You could live life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." He doesn't say you might die in 40 years. He says right now, before this video could end, before you finish your coffee, it could all be over. It sounds grim. It sounds depressing, but there is a twist. Marcus didn't use this to make himself sad. He used it to make himself free. Think about the last time you got stressed out about something stupid. Maybe you spilled a ketchup on your shirt. Or maybe you didn't get invited to a party, or maybe someone left a mean comment on your photo. You felt embarrassed. You felt anxious. You couldn't sleep. Why? Because you were you were zooming in. You were looking at life through a microscope, where the ketchup stain looks like a giant disaster, but Memento Mori forces you to zoom out. If you really knew that you had 1 week left to die, like you can live another week, would you care about the ketchup stain? Or would you care if someone thinks you are weird? Would you care about getting a promotion at your job like you hate? No. You would laugh at it. You would say, "Who cares? I'm going to watch the sunset. I am going to hug my mom, or I'm going to eat the good meal." The anxiety disappears when you remember death. All the nonsense falls away. Only the important stuff stays. It is like a filter for your life. Marcus writes a lot about fame. Remember, he was an emperor. Everyone knew his name. They built his statue of him while he was alive. If anyone should care about being famous, it was him. But he writes this funny and little reminder to himself. He talks about Alexander the Great, like the biggest conqueror in history, a man who owned half of the world. And then he talks about Alexander's mole's driver, just a regular guy who took care of the donkeys. Marcus says, I quote, "Alexander the Great and his mole driver both died, and the same thing happened to them. They both got buried in the same dirt. They both turned into dust. Death is the greatest equalizer. It doesn't care how many followers you have on Instagram, or it doesn't care how much money you have in the bank. We all end up in the same place." Marcus asks, "Why are you working so hard to impress people who are going to die soon anyway?" He says people who praised you will die, and people who came after them will die too. Eventually, everyone forgets. That sounds scary. It's actually really comforting. It means you don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be remembered forever. You just have to be here, and now you are free from the pressure of legacy. You are just a human being. So here is how I use this lesson. I don't walk around and thinking about death all day. That's weird, right? But when I wake up in the morning, I will try to remind myself, this is a bonus day. I wasn't promised this day. I could have not woken up. And so, if my coffee tastes good, man, I really enjoy it. If I'm hanging out with my friends, I put my phone down and I actually listen to them, because I don't know if you will get to do it again. Or Stoicism is about being obsessed with death. It's about being obsessed with life. It's about realizing that life is rare, it's fragile, and it's happening right now. Don't wait until you are 80 years old to realize that. Realize it now. You are alive. What a lucky thing that is. But I promised to be real with you. Does it actually work? Does reading this old diary actually fixes your life? The answer is yes and no. I don't want to lie to you. I didn't read this book and suddenly become a Zen master. I still get annoyed when the internet is slow. I still get jealous when I see other YouTubers are blowing up. I still wake up some days and just want to stay in bed and do absolutely nothing. I'm a human just like you. And honestly, something Marcus Aurelius annoys me. Sometimes he's too strict. There are parts in the book where he says things like, stop complaining about physical pain. And I'm like, easy for you to say, Marcus, but you are not with the migraine right now. But here is a massive shift that did happen after reading this book. When I felt bad, I would spiral. I would get angry. And then I got angry that I was angry. I would stay in that bad mood for 3 days. Now I have a reset button that's what this book is. It's a reset button. When I catch myself spiraling, when I catch myself worrying about something I can control, I hear Marcus's voice in my head. Stop arguing with reality. And it snaps me out of it. I stay angry for 5 minutes instead of 5 days, and that is a huge win. That is a freedom. So, should you read it? If you are looking for a fun story with dragons and plot twist, don't read it. It's boring. If you are looking for a get-rich-quick guide, you shouldn't have clicked on this video. You should not definitely read it. But if you feel like your brain is too loud, if you feel like you are constantly reacting to everything like pinball bouncing around a machine, then yes, you need this. You actually need to read this book. Here is my advice. Don't try to read it cover to cover like a novel. It's a diary. It repeats itself. Just buy a copy, put it on your nightstand or on a bedside, and when you are having a bad day, just open it to a random page. Like read one paragraph like this. I promise you that it will exactly what you needed to hear. I want to leave you with one last thought. We spend so much time trying to fix the world. We want to fix our friends. We want to fix the government. We want to fix the economy. But Marcus teaches us that the only kingdom we truly rule is the one inside your own head. That is where the battle is. And that is where the peace is actually. I quote, dig within. Within is the well of good. And it is always ready to bubble up if you just dig. You don't need to go to a mountaintop to find peace. You don't need to be an emperor. You just need to dig. The peace is already there. You just buried it under a bunch of worry. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I know this was a bit deep, but I really wanted to share it with you. I have a question for you guys. I want to leave a comment down. What is one thing you are stressing about right now and that is totally out of your control? Write it down. Let's get it out of your head and leave it in the comment section. Let's leave it. So if you like this video, you can like this video, but I know I will make more stuff if I get good feedback from you. Go bring some water. I'll go make a coffee and yeah, thank you.